is here because University of Turku will expand our education in technology area, and university needs more well-educated and well-learned pupils from our system. This is local problem. We have also global problem because climate change and pollution and so on. And we need science to recognize all the problems we have in the whole world, but we need science also to solve our problems also. Thank you.
Thank you, Timo. And in today's program, we hear about first about steamwork in Turku, in southwest Finland, and then about here in Kaunas, and then after a coffee break, and after we have heard about how youngsters have found solutions to the most difficult global problems, we will have coffee break, and then we have workshop about what we can do in the future, for example, in UBC or Baltic Sea region cooperation in steamwork. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I was just coming to that. So that's about our program today. And my name is Matti Mäkelä, and I'm head of the Project Management Office in the City of Turku Education Division. And you ask about my education. I have a good, solid humanist background in the University of Turku, and I studied there journalism, literature, and history. But I'm a huge fan of quantum physics because of it's almost impossible to understand. But let's not go there. So, like Timo said, that we have a local challenge that we need more youngsters, more people in general to work in our technology sector, and that goes also that we need more youngsters to go to secondary level vocational education as well as to the universities of applied sciences and University of Turku and Åbo Academy, which is the Swedish-speaking university in Turku. And City of Turku and the local universities and local University of Applied Sciences made a contract of technology campus in April 2018. And already in May, City Mayor came up with the initiative that Education Division should do also their own program to support technology campus in Turku. And in first meeting we had, we talked about STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we came up with the word STEAM because of this A was first and then we realized that we need to bring something else there, and because some countries they talk about STEM and some countries they talk about STEAM, so we decided that we also need arts there, and that's why, because it's first in the beginning it was and, that was the way why A is not a capital letter, and then we were so pleased about our logo, and we tried with capital A, and it looked awful, so we decided to go with small a, and also, of course, that represents that arts is a creative thing, and so that's why it's different. Also, my idea was, because I was a teenager during the era of punk, so I wanted to have this anarchy sign there. Some of you may remember Sex Pistols, but my colleagues didn't like that so much. So that's what I'm still working on that. So maybe next year it will be different. So now we talk about science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And like Timo said, our goal is to create science and technology path in preschool, basic, and secondary level education in Turku, and also in southwest Finland. Because because of course we talk about the whole region. We have about little less than 200,000 people in the city of Turku, but when we talk about the southwest Finland, it's about 700,000 people there. And also to create a direct route to further studies to the, for example, Turku Technology Campus, which includes universities and the University of Applied Sciences. And this is how STEAM works in Turku. Our budget for this year is about 1.5 million euros, and basic money comes from the city. It's about €250,000. So that's what we can do our basic work, but also we have 18 projects included in our STEAM work, which are funded by the European Union regional funds, European Union social funds, and also by the national funding from the National Board of Education and the Ministry of Education and Culture. And our goals are to increase the appeal of science and technology, and like I said, to create science and technology path starting from early childhood education. So for example, last year and this year we have already been able to teach robotics for the toddlers this fall, which was amazingly good success, and also little kids there. You later hear more about STEAM Junior Challenge, and what amazed us that younger and more creative you are, the most creative things we heard about how we tackle the most difficult challenges of mankind. The most creative ideas came from the children under the age of 8. So I think we need to listen more to them. Also, we want to create new digital solutions, learning contents, learning materials, and learning environments. Create new paths to higher education, and create new forms of cooperation between all levels of education, meaning early childhood education, basic education, secondary level, and also higher education. And also with companies. So big companies in Turku region and southwest Finland, they are very much involved in our work. And like I said, we have 18 development projects going on right now. So if we talk about STEAM, it's more like a process than a project. We have 18 projects. Some will end this year. There will be new projects starting in November, and some will start early next year. But the process is going on, and there's new projects coming and new ideas. And then we have cooperation in southwest Finland, and also national cooperation with the other universities in Finland, and for example other schools and educational institutions in Finland. And of course also international cooperation. Good example is cooperation with University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland. And for example, you'll hear more about our summer school last June, but we went to Scotland and learned about how they arrange summer schools for youngsters to make them more interested in a higher level technical education. And we just stole the idea and brought it to Finland. Only thing that we didn't do this year was that because in their summer school they had engineers from Houston, Texas, from NASA, and we already made a deal that that probably next year we will bring those engineers from the NASA, because they promised to come if we just buy flight tickets and a hotel for them. We don't have money because they also told that if we want to not engineers but the solid astronaut, that will cost 90,000 euros per an hour. But just you to know, if you have more money you can spend in some project, that if you want something really inspirational in your final seminar, so just call Houston. And of course, now we don't know what happens after possible Brexit with our cooperation with the University of Strathclyde. But of course we have other transnational cooperation. One great example is of course Union of the Baltic Cities, and one reason we are here today is also to talk about how we can continue STEAM cooperation in the Baltic Sea region. And here are, I don't go through here are the 18 projects. You can see that we have projects in preschool, basic education, upper secondary schools, and vocational education, and also some projects that include all our departments in education division. Bring up the work-life specialist, which is maybe the wrong translation, is work-life lecturer. It's an expert who is going around to schools and telling about the technology and opportunities that it offers. It's the only work-life lecturer in Finland, and like we always say, that as far as we know, the only work-life lecturer in the known universe. So we are very proud of that. Yes, please. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. It will be sent to you by the UBC, and also you can ask. We can send it to you or anybody by email. And also we have a website, steam.f. In Turku City website. We can show it later, and it's also in English and på svenska också. No. Okay, good question. So you don't have to write anything down, so you get all the information. And like I said, in our website, there's much more, and also, like I said, in English also, and in Swedish. And here are our values in STEAM work: participation. So our idea is that there is a path for every pupil, student, and also to every teacher into the world of science and technology. So our idea is not that in Finland we would need 5.5 million engineers, but we want to have people who know technology, because in the future, in most professions, you need to know some math, you need to know some science, technology, and like I was in London last week, and in Tate Modern Museum there was an exhibition of the Greek artist who in the 1960s created great piece of art together with engineers and teachers and professors of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So there are objects just floating in the air, kind of bending the problems of gravity we usually see that, and he called his partners from the MIT like poets and artists. So also, if you go to art, you can also use technology there, and also if you create new technologies, you need artists and those who create intent in your new technologies. Openness. We share all the information and practices we create, and everyone can participate in our cooperation. We welcome everybody in the UBC and in Finland, in European Union and elsewhere in our earth. And also we are ready to learn from others. And of course, innovativeness, and we want to seek and find new solutions, opportunities, and moreover, we also believe that failures are learning experiences. Because too often, I think we come up with the too obvious solutions. So when we want to create something new, something really creative, we must fail sometimes. And we believe that that is a real teaching lesson to us. And this one you already saw that you can start at the age of like 2 or 3 and end up in the when you're 85 and or over that. So it's this STEAM path in from your birth to the retirement days. And now I give a microphone to my colleague, Salla, please.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all here this morning. I hope you're having a good time here at the UBC conference. My name is Salla Sissonen. I'm the coordinator for STEAM Turku for the basic education side. So that's in Finland from grade 1 to grade 9. As you saw, actually, I think I'll go back a little bit, just here. As you already told, Matti told you, gave you a pretty good picture about what we are doing and why and so on. So I want to give you some glimpses into the everyday life of STEAM in Turku. So what does it look like really in practice? Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I will try. Actually, that's a very good point because I am a very fast speaker, and especially when I'm very interested in my topic, I tend to go like, you. So my students, I'm a teacher myself as well, or I used to be before coordinating. They have this timeout sign that they show me when I get interested in something. They're like, okay, timeout, and then I realize that I have to talk slower. Thank you. Very good point. So how this can only work, and STEAM can only work if teachers and educators, if we cooperate with each other. STEAM, we already know from what is happening in the world, and we can see it in Turku already. This project has just been going on for a year, but what we now see already is that STEAM works at its best when all of these letters are together. So when science, technology, engineering, arts, and math can be seen in the same work that we're doing. When it's cohesive like this, then it works best. And this only works if we have a lot of cooperation. Cooperation between the levels and cooperation between people within the levels. That's why cooperation is something that we are trying very hard to work on and to enhance and make even better. These are just some of the ways that we work on cooperation. For example, we help now that the University of Turku, like you heard in the beginning, they have enlarged their Master of Science in Technology programs. We are helping to market them in the schools. Also, we are creating new paths, like you heard from Matti already, to the university and polytechnic studies. This is a process that's ongoing. We're not ready yet, but we are going in that direction. We are working together with companies and enterprises locally and within Finland on the whole. We have upper secondary working life projects, for example, that where people can go into the companies, and we are working to create better work practice programs in basic education. Matti talked about that already, so I'll just go to the next, which is my favorite, and that's the inspiring part of innovation. So what do we do really in STEAM? We have 2 annual projects. STEAM It, which takes place every fall, every autumn. It's actually, it's just started now. STEAM It is a project where teachers and educators in institutions and schools in Turku can apply for funding for their own good STEAM ideas. So imagine that you're a teacher and you really need microbit robots in your classroom in order to do something, but the school doesn't have the money or the principal is a bit reluctant for that. Then you can apply for funding from STEAM. And how that works and what it does really is that it allows more innovation in schools, and we're already seeing that it also creates a network between teachers, which is nice. Another big annual project or annual event, maybe is a better word, is STEAM Junior that always takes place in the spring. We will hear more about this later, but let me just give you a brief insight into what it is. STEAM Junior last year was a video contest where we asked the children and students in the city of Turku to come up with solutions to the biggest problems of mankind: climate change, biodiversity crisis, and pollution of oceans. And they had to send us a video with that solution in it. And then it was a competition, and we got tons of videos from schools all around the place. It was a cooperation with the universities. So the professors were there to analyze the results and the ideas and to choose the winners and so on, and also to present the crisis. We have another university cooperation, which we did, which Matti already mentioned, a summer school. And I will give you a brief look into what it actually looked like later. We're working on new learning environments within the schools, within companies. For example, augmented realities, virtual realities. We have a learning environment that we're developing for mathematics called Tuoma and so on. Also, we're creating a lot of new courses at the moment. And this is especially true for the upper secondary schools in Turku. For example, there is a course on nanocellulose and marine physics and cybersecurity. And there's also a fun course called Wild Ideas, which is a cooperation project with the Department of Future Technologies in the University of Turku, where the university teachers are teaching ninth graders, that's 15-year-olds, within the university. Works nicely as well. Also, we are very much involved in the MyTech programs, which is a Technology Industries of Finland project that they also run annually. We have a lot of classes in that. How it works is that first the teacher does this kind of like a phenomenon learning project at school with their students, and then the class can visit a company and a higher education institution on that same specific phenomenon that they have been working on. I promised you a look inside, and I have 6 minutes, so I will do that. This here is one of my favorite projects that we got from STEAMIT last year. As you can see, it's a unicorn. And what's fantastic about this is that it's not really just a unicorn, but if you look very closely, you can see a LED light shining bright up in the horn, and this is actually a lamp. So how this works is that at the school of Syvälahti, which is a school from first graders to ninth graders, and it's not only a school, but in the same building they have a early childhood and care education unit, and they have a library, and they have health care and so on. The students from grade 4 to grade 9, so that's 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds, were given a task to find out what kind of lighting issues the different units in that building had. So some of the students went into the daycare unit to ask, like, how could we help you with lighting? And they said, well, we don't have a light in the nap room, because in Finland, the small kids, they nap in daycare units. So the students came back, and then they started thinking, like, what kind of light would a nap room need? And I mean, of course, it has to be a unicorn, right? Because who can have nightmares if you have a unicorn in the room? Also, so how this worked then really is that all of this has been created by students. So they drew the patterns, they designed the project, they designed what kind of lamp it would be, and they actually also they've sewn it and they've created the whole thing by themselves. And what's really cool about this is that this actually follows a design process. So it is not done by the same students, the whole thing, but it's done by different students from grade 4 to grade 9. And this is something quite new that we are trying to learn, is how to implement this design thinking in education even more. So this is the A in STEAM in full, in full blow. And the thing is that they loved it so much that when they got it, it broke in the first 10 minutes. But luckily, it had guarantee left, so it went back, and the ninth graders fixed it up. so now it's still there. You can actually never turn it off, because apparently I asked, like, you can't turn it off, and they're like, can you turn unicorns off? I'm like, okay, fine. So it always shines this one LED light there. Yeah. Another project from the STEAMIT was last year was high school upper secondary students teaching preschoolers in robotics. Also a very nice project that we hope to take further. After this, we have also the same students have trained preschool teachers in teaching robotics, because there was they loved it so much that everybody wanted it, and we could only offer a few possibilities for this kind of workshop. So we have to train them further. just to give you, this is the city of Turku, so to give you an idea what an AR environment, learning environment might look like. This is the river Ora that runs through the middle of the city of Turku, and this is the first bridge and the only bridge that they had in the Middle Ages. Of course, it's not there anymore, but the high school kids have now created this together with a company, so that you can now see it with AR. But like Matti always says, please don't walk on it, because there is no bridge anymore. So if you try, it's going to be a problem. Okay, a quick peek into the summer school. Now this was super. What we did was that we realized that the university is offering a lot of STEAM-related activities for children who are below the age of 12. But then for lower secondary school children or youngsters, there isn't that much. And then we tried what if this kind of summer school idea would work. We got 30 students who enrolled within the first week that the enrollment was open. And this is what the program looked like. We had the University of Turku taught them coding and genetics. We had plant studies and satellites that we were studying on Tuesday again with the University of Turku. And then we were, with the Machine Technology Center in Turku, we had robotics and health technology again with the University of Turku. They loved it. And this, I think, is the great thing that it was their summer holiday. But the only really negative comment that kept coming when we asked for feedback was that, it was way too short. It should have been longer. And this, I think, is really the best thing that you can hear for a 15-year-old, that they wanted to spend more of their summer holiday with us. Also, an interesting thing that happened was that we sent the satellite up in upper atmosphere. It means that the tower of the airport of Turku had to be notified, and they told us, when you can send it. It's like this small. It's tiny. It's a teaching satellite. But we had to be aware of the weather conditions, because if you send it up and there are like planetary winds or something, it actually blows over the borders. So we didn't want to risk a global, war or something, because we sent, weird satellites over borders. So we were very careful with this, and we sent it up, and the newspapers were there when they were filming, and it went well. And then up it went, and down it came, and it fell somewhere north of Helsinki. So Turku is in the southwestern corner, so it went by car like 2 hours away, and it disappeared totally. We never found it. The researchers went looking for it. They flew drones over the area where it pinged last, that I'm here, and then it just went dead. So we think someone stole it. I mean, there is no other explanation, because it floats and everything. So, unfortunate and kind of anticlimactic, but that's what happened. We also have, absolutely, please do. Health technology, that's a good question. That's for example, for studying, how technology can help with your health, like studying hearts. And that's something that they did at summer school, was that they studied their own hearts and the hearts of their fellows with the patents that the University of Turku has created in that area. Exactly, for example. Something that helps your health. So, just to give you an idea, is that STEAM is in the everyday life of schools who are involved in this process. But we also have events and training that we do. Like next week, for example, there's a Girls and Technology event in the city of Turku. And we've had all kinds of things. For example, our upper school students had a workshop in the huge Congress of European Society for Evolutionary Biology. And then we have smaller things. For example, we studied frogs together and created 3D models of frogs and so on. And we're also looking into how to involve movie industry within teaching, just to give you some ideas. I hope you got a practical, pragmatic picture. And then moving on to the next speaker. Thank you. Absolutely, please. Oh, sorry, yeah. I think, and this I have to say is a bit outside my own expertise, because I work in basic education myself. But I will try. As far as I understand, both of those are correct. So we have a system for science passes, so lecture passes, where you can go and listen to lectures, but you can also take some courses with the university already in some of the high schools in Turku, and this is something that we're trying to make more wide.
They are the university courses, and also in vocational education you are able to take courses from the University of Applied Sciences, and this is of course what we are constantly working on, that we have a system that works in every field, for example of vocational education, and also in different departments of universities in Turku.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Universities who are paying the teachers or your work, or how much you mentioned also EU, that you get money there for, what kind of budget do you have?
Well, that's question. I don't think it's true. It wasn't mentioned. The city of Turku is funding this project. So the university itself does not fund, for example, the teachers or me, but I am funded totally by the city of Turku. But then again, because like Matti said, there are about 18 different projects within this kind of like process umbrella that we're working on. Some of those are funded by the National Board of Education in Finland, and some by EU and so on. So there are different budget routes to the budget, let's just put it this way, where we get the funding. From the EU, do you know?
Well, this, like I said, there's budget this year is about 1.5 million, and a quarter of a million coming from the city of Turku, and the rest of the money is from EU and the national funding. I would say that this year, and from different EU projects, it's about 600,000-700,000 euros. But of course, it can be very different next year or in year 2020. And we are of course seeking new projects depending on the new ideas we want to create in the future.
Thank you. Well, next speaker, please.
Good morning. I will find my file, and let me stay in this corner, please, because I will use computer more often. Let me introduce myself first, because then you will understand why my presentation will be a little bit different from Finnish presentation. My background is what Matti likes, quantum electronics, and simply speaking, laser physics and spectroscopy. And actually, I'm working with teacher education at Vytautas Magus University and in some United Nations institutions as a consultant for education for sustainable development. And I would like to start with a short history of STEAM in Kaunas, because STEAM was introduced as non-formal education, and our first institution of non-formal education, Technical Creativity Center for School Children, is working really with STEAM with A, because as I remember when I was at school, the center was famous by movie production without any digital techniques, and by promoting wind energy during kite festivals. So it was really STEAM 30 years ago. But now we have two other institutions which are more and more popular between schools. It's Kaunas Education Center in Kaunas Fortress Museum. It's also interesting combination, museum and STEAM. And Innovative Education Platform, it's quite new organization, working with school, mainly with primary schools and kindergartens. And some pictures from, and we have not only constantly functioning institutions, but also like standalone projects and events, which also are dedicated for schools. And actually, it's a very good motivation for children to be acquainted and to interested in STEAM. And there are some pictures from this museum, because it's very special place, is Kaunas Fortress, and it's very new technologies, so history meets future. And not only school children from Kaunas schools like this laboratories and events, but also from overall Lithuania, children come here, and actually it's more and more popular place in Lithuania. And now about the perspective, it's not only for Kaunas, but we have plans to establish methodological centers in partnership with universities, and in Lithuania there will be 3 such kind of centers, and one of 3 will be in Kaunas in cooperation with Kaunas Technical University and Vytautas Magnus University. It will be a part of Science Island in Kaunas. And another 7 centers will be like regional centers, and there will be 7 in total. And they will also cooperate with methodological centers. So this is the future perspective. And now I would like to say some words about STEAM competences, because what we are doing in non-formal education is very important for competence development, and it's also important for formal education. So we have scientific inquiry in our non-formal education. We have collaboration. We have communication. We have creativity and innovation. And innovation is always related with change. So we need responsibility and citizenship as in the competence basket. So this is a basket of so-called transformative competences, which are necessary for transformation, as for strategic, meaningful change, for long-term change. So these competences are important, as I said, in formal education as well. And we now have new initiative, STEAM schools. What does it mean, STEAM school? It means that overall school strategy is dedicated to STEAM in different ways. It is like strategic management and partnerships. Why I emphasize partnerships? Because schools alone are not prepared to introduce so different activities in STEAM. So we need partnerships with universities, with colleges, with business enterprises. And partnerships is like a main precondition to make STEAM school alive. So we have human resources and curriculum, as well as extracurricular activities. I also want to attract your attention to human resources like teachers and infrastructure, of course. Self-assessment is an integral part of school strategy, and now we have network of STEAM schools in Lithuania. The first stage were 14 schools, and we have 4 STEAM schools in Kaunas, and now we have 94 candidates for STEAM schools, which are preparing to be a STEAM school by mobilizing their resources, knowledge. And in Kaunas now we will have plus 6 schools, but you see, we'll have 3 kindergartens, and we'll have 2 institutions of non-formal education. So it's let's say a virus which is which is actually wanted. And when we are speaking about STEAM coming to formal education, so is the question of STEAM teachers. And here in Vytautas Magnus University, we have a study program which was introduced last year. It's actually studies for STEAM teachers. you can see a structure of study programs. Artes liberales is a necessary part of study programs in our university, and it's particularly important for STEAM teachers because they should have also humanitarian and social education. Pedagogy as usual, it's nothing unusual, and STEAM didactics. STEAM didactics, I guess it's the most important part of the study program because it deals with inquiry-based learning, with problem-based learning, with involving all children into inquiry activities and so on. So STEAM didactics is like the essence of this study program. And subject studies. There is a possibility for students to choose two subjects from 6. You see, biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, ICT, technologies. So practice at the school is also a very important part because we decided that students should be innovators in schools where they are going to practice. So we have 3 practices in schools. 2 of them are like learning practices, and the 3rd practice is innovation practice. So students are bringing some pedagogical STEAM innovation into school, introducing and researching how it is implemented. So it is an essence of the bachelor thesis. So about teachers, and now yes, please. 18. Yes, because it's a new study program, and I guess we all are also, I mean, lecturers are learning ourselves, and it's also innovation in our pedagogical studies in Lithuania as well. Yes, please. It means broad education, including philosophy, arts, languages. It depends what specialty you are going to get in university, and you can choose from humanities subjects which you want to learn, like additional courses for your personal upbringing, for your personal development. So it's a tradition of our university since its establishment 30 years ago. And I am really happy that we still keep this artes liberales component in our study programs.
Therefore, liberales means freedom. It's not a political meaning.
No, it's academic meaning. And we have a university network in the world which are using this concept of artes liberales, so it's academic concept. So, about the curriculum. In Lithuania, we are working with new national curriculum, and discussions have been started last year. Now we have guidelines for curriculum renovation, and what the main features of new curriculum in comparison with curriculums which we had before. Priority of competences, and we are concentrating on competences which I have mentioned earlier. It's transformative competences which also are combined with scientific approach. It's also example of STEAM was very useful because scientific approach is not only for STEAM. Scientific approach is for other subjects as well, but different methodologies could provide different didactic approaches. And real-life context. In these guidelines, real-life contexts are recommended coming from based on Sustainable Development Goals, and there are several reasons for that. Because Sustainable Development Goals are integrative, because Sustainable Development Goals have not only or possess not only scientific challenges but also ethical challenges. It's like consensus about the future. And actually, there is also one problem, because the sustainable development goals are for politicians. And we should translate sustainable development goals into the school language. So I will show you an example, but then we encourage our school children to act for social goals, for their local communities, for broader communities, for schools, and sustainable development goals are really helpful to define what social goals are important in one or another context. And personalization, I guess it's the same meaning like in all countries. It's no child left behind, and it is related very much with with strengthening of formative assessment. And how it works. We also have a pilot project, science curriculum for 4 grades from 5th to 9th was established 3 years ago. And since year 2017, 19 schools started to work according to this curriculum, and 4 schools are in Kaunas. And now we have the second stage, plus 60 schools, and we have plus 7 schools in Kaunas. So it is a real network, as a STEAM network. This science network also is very, very useful for teachers, because as an innovation, it is not easy, and cooperation among teachers is very, very helpful in this case. So I really am happy working with these schools, because I was one of the co-authors of this science curriculum, and it is also actually already integrated these five objectives, which now are suggested for all school curriculum, so for all subjects. And what I would like, I promise to show how we are translating SDGs into science curriculum. You can see that we are working particularly with 1, 2, 3, 7 goals, yes? And you can see that it's also very important topics which could be used as integrative topics in science. And actually mathematics are like an instrument in our science curriculum, in statistical analysis, in making mathematical presentation of data and so on. And actually in our curriculum also we have topics about advanced technologies, and it is also more or less is related with technologies. It's a problem speaking about A in STEAM abbreviation, but now we are in process, and I am sure that we will find the ways how to work with design, with art, also in science curriculum. So it's also our learning process, but I am really happy to be involved in it. And to summing up what is going around STEAM in Kaunas and maybe in broader scope in Lithuania, it's non-formal education. It is in a perspective also important component. It's school curriculums like STEAM schools, like curriculum which are going to be prepared for school subjects within the new national curriculum. It's research, and I forgot to say, we are researching how science curriculum and how STEAM schools are working from the pedagogical point of view, from the social point of view, and teacher education will accumulate what is the best practices from non-formal education, school curriculums, research, and we do hope that teachers which are now in our university will be good STEAM teachers. Thank you. introduction because my colleagues from Tartu University asked about it.
Oh, great. Great. I will contact you then.
Thank you so much. Very inspirational, and already had and I think Salla too, many ideas how we can improve our teamwork in Turku, and also how we can cooperate in the Pasiksi region, and hopefully others also from other cities in a region find out some ideas to continue. Salla, are we going to have a coffee break now, or after we have solutions for all the problems in the world? Okay. So, I give you a mic to you.
Thank you. So the last presentation before the coffee break, this is the most fun. And my name is Olli Pekanheimo, and as Matti is a humanist, I'm a physicist, and I teach physics, mathematics, chemistry, and computer science for Upper Comprehensive School in Turku. And Matti and Salla have already introduced this one part of what STEAM is doing in Turku. But I'm going to tell you a bit more about it. So I'm talking about STEAM Junior, which was a video competition last spring. Salla introduced it as an annual program. We have done it once. Yeah, just annual, but just started. Yes. Which means that next spring I think we will do it again. Yeah, and this is something, of course, we will be asking for your input also when we have the workshops. Yeah. Then it's already traditional. Yes, definitely. So we chose the three biggest problems on Earth at the moment: the climate change, the biodiversity crisis, and the marine pollution. And we presented the competition to students from the ages of 3 to 19. So from the youngest students in Finland to all the way to upper secondary school students. And the students were divided into 3 different age groups, and they got to biodiversity crisis. It's a long word. And the students got to choose which category they would like to solve, but the idea was just to solve a little bit of it and make a video. And we got 58 videos, which was very, very good, from all the different categories, from all the different age groups of students. The problems were presented by experts from the 3 different fields from the University of Turku. So they made small videos. We will look at one of them a bit later on. But now we have the winners of the oldest group of students here. The group was from the Upper Comprehensive School and Upper Secondary School group. So please, ladies, the winners. Sorry? Yes. We will see the video a bit later on, the winning video, but first I will introduce, or I will, the ladies. So you won the competition. Well done, ladies. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Sophia Laaksonen, and I'm Maria Lammerva, and we come from Upper Comprehensive School, Luostarivuori, which is in Turku, Finland.
Okay, thank you. So the video competition was last spring, so the video was made then. What grade were you in when you made the video?
We were in 8th grade, but we're in 9th grade now.
Okay, so 9th graders now. Which category of the 3 did you choose and why?
We chose climate change as a whole because I sort of raised the question that just how long have we known that this is a problem? And we looked into the history of it, and we're sort of shocked that have we really known for this long? And just how long have we been ignorant of this issue? And we found it sort of comical in a way, and then we chose that what if we put this into video form, and that's what we did.
Thank you. I will now show you the question video of Jukka Käykkö. It's a professor of geology from the University of Turku. We have it's in Finnish, but we have translated the subtitles to English. This one. Here.
Moikka, ja kuka te olette?
No moi moi, mä oon maantieteen professori Jukka Käykkö Turun yliopistossa.
Mikä on mielestäsi maailman suurin haaste?
No kyllä se on ilmastonmuutos.
Ilmastonmuutoksesta on ollut kyllä kovin paljon puhetta. Mitä se sitten tarkalleen ottaen tarkoittaa?
No ilmastonmuutoksellahan tarkoitetaan sitä, että kun ihminen on lisännyt semmoisen niin sanottujen kasvihuonekaasujen määrää ilmakehässä, vaikka hiilidioksidin määrää, niin se aiheuttaa, että tämä planeetta rupeaa lämpenemään. Eli isompi osa siitä auringon lämpösäteilystä, jota tänne tulee, joka on itse asiassa valoa, niin se rupeaa lämmittämään tätä planeettaa. Ja nyt kun tässä ollaan ja on näin paljon lunta, niin monihan voi kysyä, että miten nyt sitten, eihän tää mitään lämpenemistä ole. Täällä on kylmä ja näin. Mutta se onkin sitten se ongelma tai haaste tavallaan, että maapallolla eri alueet käyttäytyy eri tavalla, että vaikka se maapallon keskilämpötila nousee, niin jotkut alueet saattaa viilentyä, jotkut lämpenee, joista tulee märempiä, jotkut tulee kuivempia. Se on hyvin monimutkainen systeemi ja sen takia ihmisen on hirveän vaikea siihen tavallaan sopeutua. Ja sen kanssa me tässä nyt painitaan, että osataanko me elää siinä uudessa muuttuneessa ilmastossa. Mutta sitten oikeastaan semmoinen sen haasteen toinen puoli on se, että ilmastonmuutos on vain yksi oire niistä kaikista muutoksista, mitä maapallolla nyt tapahtuu ihmisen takia. Et me saastutetaan ja me rakennetaan ja maapallo muuttuu hirveän monella tavalla. Ja siitä käytetään sellaista termiä kuin globaali muutos. Ja itse asiassa ilmastonmuutos on vain yksi oire siitä globaalimuutoksesta. Ja se on se iso haaste, että ihmiset muuttaa maapalloa ihan ennennäkemättömällä tavalla.
Millä tavalla maailmasta voitaisiin tehdä 5 verran parempi paikka?
No, meitä ihmisiä on 7,6 miljardia täällä. Ja me jokainen vaikutetaan siihen, millainen tämä maapallo on paikkana. Niin, jos jokainen meistä tekisi asioita vähän paremmin, vähän kestävämmin, vähän säästeliämmin, niin silloin tästä maailmasta tulisi parempi paikka.
So the introductory video to the climate change problem, we had similar videos from both the other two categories, biodiversity and pollution of the oceans. Ladies, the idea of the competition was to have a little solution to the problems, but as we will see soon, your video doesn't actually give a solution, but yet the experts chose it as a winning video. Can you open up this dilemma here a bit?
It's sort of a counter advertisement for the whole project. We felt it was kind of ridiculous that you guys, you who are older than us and have been on this earth for much longer than we have, you've known for so long. It's kind of strange that this whole project was even given to us, that you kind of ask us, we're children, I mean, that you're kind of asking us to come up with things to solve this whole crisis. It's strange in itself, and we kind of wanted to poke fun at that. That it's the point of the video is kind of to show you that, look, these are all the generations that have come before us and who have caused the whole problem, and so why isn't our kind of our problem now? And don't get me wrong, it's like very important to me that we young people get to speak, and we're being heard here, because we are the people who are going to be affected by this whole thing. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good answer. And well, at least in the Finnish media, the climate change has gotten a lot more time from the news, and with, for example, Greta Thunberg getting a lot of positive attention and bringing attention to the climate change problem. Do you feel that the things are moving at least in the right direction at the moment?
Yeah, basically it makes me very happy to see all the small changes that, for example, for me at least, a lot of more sustainable choices are very readily available to me, and I feel much more comforted knowing that. But at the same time, this is very, very slow. I mean, these kind of changes should have been made years ago, and we're only just now taking these steps, and I can only hope that the whole development gets a lot faster.
Thank you. And the small part of this is, of course, your video, which we will now see. The name of the video is Nobody Cares About Climate Change. In the credits, you thank Mozart for the music, PewDiePie for a little inspiration in the end, but also mun äiti, which in English means my mother. Can you open this up a bit for us?
She is my mother, and we were having an open doors day at our school, which means that basically our parents can freely walk in and come see what their learning environment is like for us. And at that time, we were still filming some of the scenes, and my mother helped us with that. And we were kind of giggling, and it was very hard for us to concentrate on the whole thing. And she just thought, oh my God, what is this gonna be? This is going to be an absolute disaster. And but in the end, she was pretty proud of us for the end result. And thank you, Mom.
Thank you, ladies, and a round of applause. So is it now time for coffee?
It's time for coffee.
If there is coffee, and what time should we meet and start on the 10 to 11? 10:50. regarding all these topics, or at least some of them. Yeah. All right. So a small coffee break. I hope they are already serving it.